Oh, glory be and mercy me, we've done it yet again. Here we are, daily walk around the graveyard. So as always, looking around, finding articles to talk about on my live stream, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. Come on in, let's have a cry about the collapse of our society, right? Have some catharsis, maybe do some organizing, right? And what did I find, right? So Angus Reid has done a poll of the Canadian public, asking very simple questions like, hey, how you doing with this inflation thing? How's inflation treating you? Are you doing okay? 56% of us, 56% of Canadians are saying that they are not keeping up with inflation, right? Another 80% of people say that they've had to change their spending habits. They've tightened their belts, so to speak. That absolutely brutal fascistic phrase. This begs the question, what is our leadership doing about it? 56% of us are not keeping up with inflation. That means that we're not getting food. It means that we're not getting shelter. That means that the basics, the absolute rudimentary basics of what a civilization or a society or a government should provide is not being provided to the citizens. This puts us behind like monarchies. This puts us behind tribal civilizations, right? Even chiefs understand, oh, we need to provide food and shelter for the citizenry, right? So what is our leadership doing about it? Oh, they're going to Tiff Macklin, right? Tiff Macklin of the Bank of Canada, and saying, oh, you got to raise those interest rates, and that'll get inflation under control, which it doesn't, right? That's not what it's doing, right? Raising inflation, raising the interest rates only chases people out of the market, right? Makes it so that the rich get cheap assets that they can swallow up, which is the entire point, right? Because if you wanted to actually do something about inflation, what you would do is you would go to the corporations who are making more money than they've ever made, right? The corporations are making money hand over fist, record-breaking profits, right? And you would say, lower your prices, stop inflation, right? For those of you who hear that and go, well, that seems unrealistic and that seems like that couldn't happen, that's exactly what Nixon did during the inflation crisis in his administration. He literally went on television and said, if you raise prices tomorrow, we will arrest you. Oh, and inflation stopped. Oh, how about that? Oh. So for all the frauds and liars and phonies who are walking around saying, this is just a force of nature and this is a global phenomenon. Yeah, they're raising prices on you to chase you out of the market, to render you homeless, to make it so that you can't get a foot in, so that they can hoover up all of the wealth for themselves. It's a policy of extraction. And this is literally all the wealthy are doing about this. It's literally the only thing that's being done about it. And so you're probably walking around saying, well, then I'm gonna vote conservative next time. This Pierre Poilievre, he seems like an all right guy. Their entire strategy is privatization. So literally their strategy is to take the public systems that are in place that the Liberals are actively weakening and just shuffle them over into the private sector, to the very people who are responsible for this inflation crisis in the first place. How do I know that's the truth? Because it's all Conservatives have ever done ever in the history of their entire existence. It's all they've ever done. It's what Doug Ford is currently doing here in the province of Ontario. Unless you're a total rube and you think otherwise, right? Well then, you know what? I'm gonna go vote for the NDP. What? The NDP, just like orange liberals, their leader literally works for the World Economic Forum. They're all on the same page with this idea that we're just gonna maintain this system of capital and extraction, right? Well then, you know what? Maybe it's time I'm gonna go vote for some communists. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, you mean like Clara Sorrenti, who recently just had her door kicked in, right? Who recently had her door kicked in by cops. She was doxxed, right? Now she's being forced to flee the country because fascists and Nazis and police are going after her, right? What, you think that this is an option? You think that the system is going to allow communists to actually come up through it and challenge the power structure without being violently opposed? What we are looking at very cleanly is a complete delegitimization of the system itself. That the system of governance, the system of capital, has completely delegitimized itself and has no interest in re-legitimizing itself. It isn't responding to the needs of the people. 56% of us are saying that we can't keep up with inflation. That means 56, the majority of the population is sliding backwards into poverty, right? It means that our economy is contracting drastically. It means that we are falling ever backwards, and our political apparatus is not only failing to address it, they're completely disinterested in addressing it. And the fake opposition that's been propped up by the capitalist death cult is going to make the problem worse on purpose, because the entire system is designed to betray you at this point. This system of governance has as much legitimacy as Darth Vader's system of governance, as Voldemort's system of governance, as Prince John's system of governance. There's nothing here that has legitimacy. Even if they wanted to actually legitimize the system, it would be easy to do. They would stand up and they would say, stop raising prices, corporations, end this inflation, right? They would create they would increase wages. They would create rent caps. They would actually do things to make it so that this place was basically livable for the most part, but they're not doing any of that, right? Because the people who rule us have become detached psychopaths. They're incapable of thinking about the world that they live in with any kind of rationality whatsoever. It is why they are plunging us into poverty while they extract wealth and then ship it offshore. And what are we getting for all of this? For all of this devastation, for all of this increased poverty, what are we getting for all of this? Oh, we're just getting money in offshore accounts for these psychos. That's it. We're not getting infrastructure. We're not getting any increased anything. We're being told that we've got to suck it up and work harder and grind set and individualism, and you just got to bootstrap yourself and all this kind of stuff, while they actively work to betray us. And there isn't a one of them that's interested in moving against the system. They have made it so that the only option that is left for us is to surround the halls of power. They aren't going to allow common sense reform. They're not going to allow basic reason, empathy, compassion into the way they think about the world. They have decided that we need to be plunged into poverty so that they can get a higher number in a bank account. This is money worship, what we are seeing, and the only thing left, because it's the only option they've given us, is to surround the halls of power, arrest them, and redraw our Constitution to ensure that this can never, ever happen again. Like, share, subscribe, come into my live stream. This is a long process. This is something that is going to take a long time, but we have to decide to do it. We have to admit that the system has lost its legitimacy, that the people within it are refusing to legitimize it, that they are generating crises after crises on purpose in order to impoverish us and enrich themselves, and thereby collapse the society and the civilization. Always remember, guys, each and every one of you is a quantum being, a temporal refugee who is only here for a small fraction of time. These billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the hopes that you'll never realize it. You'll just stay the good little commodity they need you to be. Rebel, revolt, repent. Good luck. We're going to need it.